Peace, everybody. It's Montana with Beyond Clouds. Um, I'm so tired. So this is the third annual Stand with Two Clouds week, and usually I'm like gung ho on social media, dropping videos, doing all kinds of stuff out in the streets, doing all sorts of charitable works and trying to get events going and all this kind of thing. This year, with the theme being those who can lead, I said, you know what? Leaders need to rest sometimes. And just take some time for ourselves. Declare. Take some time for ourselves. My son, Two Clouds, he had just turned 30 years old 5 weeks before he was murdered. And he had been diagnosed with chronic anxiety because he was so stressed out from his leadership duties and the things that he was doing. So I said, I better take some time for myself. And so, that is also, again, leading. There's, when they teach people how to behave in crisis situations, they always have to tell the moms, okay, when the gas mask drop or whatever, when the oxygen mask drop, you make sure that you get some air first and then give to your children, because it is the moms, leaders, healers, givers. It is our innate, it's in us innately to give outward long before we give to ourselves. Even as a nurse, I constantly forget to take my medicine, but I'm always giving others their medications. And thank Creator, I have a daughter who stays on me. But I say that to say, leaders and people who are giving to others oftentimes forget to serve themselves. And so, to me taking a moment this week to try to at least start to learn how to take care of myself in order for me to help take care of others, I think is definitely in theme for this year. I'm still doing other things, of course, but actually the day before, so Stand with Two Clouds week this year, 2025, started on my son's birthday, May 25th, and goes until the 31st, Creator willing. And so on the 24th, though, the day before, I actually went and helped a little bit, not a lot, because I ended up having to leave, and because I had like really bad allergies, like everybody out there had really bad allergies. And I left to get some medicine, and when I got home, I saw my fence had fallen down. So I didn't get to put into it as much as I had anticipated. But I did go to this cemetery where they were having a Memorial Day event. And I have a video. Hopefully I will edit it soon and get it online. But it is actually a historical site because it is an African-American cemetery, predominantly. There are some like East European people there, but primarily there are interned African-American people, as well as people who had died while they were enslaved and such. It's from the 18th century, I believe, 17 something. And so I did put in some time there. But again, normally I'm all over the place. I'm taking things to the children's hospital. I'm feeding people. I'm doing something. But this time I did that. So far, again, technically it wasn't part of Stand with Two last week because it was the day before. But on the day that it started, I took time for myself. I went to sit with my son and, spent time with him, reflecting and crying and praying as my normal routine. Then the next day, I went to the beach where he used to go to collect cohawk shells for his wampum jewelry. So I just hung out there much longer than I anticipated. I guess I needed it. And just took in the sights and sounds and, memories, because, I was there once since this happened, doing the same things, reflecting and, spending quiet times with my memories there, because the time before that, I was there with him while he collected cohawk shells and just, loving on each other as we did. So yeah, that's how I spent Sunday and Monday. Then yesterday, Tuesday, I stayed at home and worked on my craft room, getting my craft room together, because I have some relatives that's going to be staying with me for a while, which I'm super duper excited about. He would be too. And I, again, I did that. I sewed a ribbon skirt and just kind of laid back. Today I'll be working on some things pertaining to getting arrests, in his murder. So yeah, I'm just taking it easy on myself. And I'm going to tell you, anybody who knows me, like for real knows me, knows it's difficult for me to be doing this. That takes some leadership in itself. But yeah, I have things that I was supposed to have, been posting throughout the week. I just haven't had it in me. So I'm going to get on that. I have another article about to be published with the Green Party. So that got out the way. I'm just laying back. And, but in the interim, so a lot of things, I'm going to tell y'all, this week is really, really hard on me. And, so it's really hard. And definitely with, the first day having also been the anniversary of my son's birth, because, people, a lot of times, people would say, like, to me, are just cliche statements, they'll be like, oh, I know it's so hard. It's always so hard on moms because you had the baby. And it's just kind of like a flat statement, as in, yeah, I get you grieving because you're a mom and you're like super emotional. And it's like, bro, it's way more than that. You don't even get it. Or sis, usually a sis. You don't even get it. Yeah, we have the babies, but it's more than a physical, far more than a physical experience, For me, I wanted a child for so long. I was only 19 when I had him, and this will be in the book, but suffice to say, I always wanted a child, like for so long. Mothering is a part of who I am. And I used to pray to get pregnant. Then when I was pregnant, I used to pray all the time, of course, like all in the middle of the night and everything, praying to Creator, asking for a leader, for a great leader who would do great things for the people. Like I knew this as a teen because I grew up with revolutionary values, you know, being born into the Nation of Islam, being, you know, I had a teacher, Mrs. Yates, in high school, who I already, you know, already knew these things and had certain ideas and stuff that had been instilled in me. And, you know, just growing up in a black neighborhood, peoples that I used to sort of be around and catch earshot of what they were talking about, you know. I already had these ideas and such. But then with Mrs. Yates at Central High School in Newark, my freshman year, she taught social studies. She was a wonderful, wonderful woman. I loved her so much. But it was really her. I really give her a lot of credit because she introduced us, or me, to the documentary series Eye on the Prize. And in that, she taught us about Emmett Till, Miss Mamie Till, but who became, or who at least was brought to the world, to the public as a revolutionary when her son had been murdered. And she also introduced us to, chairman, I can't think right now. Oh my God, why am I not, Fred Hampton. I don't know why I couldn't think of his name. I love him so much. Like, legit, I love him so much. But anyhow, this is back in, you know, like 87, where she introduced me, if no one else in the class, to those two people per se. And they have had such a profound impact on my life ever since. And so that's how come I knew, like, when this happened with my son, and it was evident from the beginning that there was going to be no police investigation, no police help, no help from the tribal government, all of that. And I'm like, oh, okay, I know what to do because Miss Mamie already showed me what to do. And so that's why you see I made public what he looked like and things like that. And I was like, I know what to do. Let me go over here for a minute and handle this. And I knew that from Chairman Fred that you got to stand up and speak no matter what. And of course, there's plenty of other examples that I've had throughout my life. Of course, Malcolm X and, you know, Martin Luther King and all these great people, Lena Horne, you know, just all these great, great people whose shoulders I stand upon. And so, you know, I knew what to do. I forget how I even got to this. But, yeah, you know, this is all part of the work for my son. And I ain't gonna front like it's easy. It's not easy at all. I'm just the fiery type. And just being from Newark, New Jersey, you know, I've said many other times, being from Newark to me is just like the most awesome town or city to be brought up in, because we really are a protest town. We really are fighters. That's how I was raised, you know, coming out of Temple 25, coming, just a lot of it, you know. People currently, you know, have eyes on Mayor Ras Baraka, who is the son of the great Amiri Baraka. You know, they have eyes on him now because of what happened with ICE and him being arrested. But know for sure, Ras Baraka is from a long, strong, historic tradition. This is what we do from Newark. We stand and we fight. And if you have to be arrested, so be it. If you have to be killed, so be it. But we are going to stand and we are going to fight. And if we going down, we're taking a couple dozen with us. So, you know, and that is the tradition that my son came out of because I gave that to him. And so, yeah, I think I'm getting back where I started with this. Um, and so I knew the prayers to put to Creator, to ask Creator for. And sure enough, is what, I was gifted and everyone was gifted. And in that, I knew what I needed to do. So, we were blessed. I was blessed to be able to, and just again, I mean, I say this humbly because it all comes from Creator. It's not like I'm some genius or whiz or something like that. But I was knowledgeable enough to say, hey, let me put all this stuff to the side. I'm going to make it where I can be with my son and with my other children who came after and homeschool him. I homeschooled 2 clouds into his high school years. And, all of my children, we just came off of 26 years with my children. And then now I'm moving into the second phase with my grandchildren. But yeah, man, you can't just sit and pray and hope and wish for a great leader. Great leaders are made. They may be born with something in them, a fire, but we see it out on the streets all the time. All these would-be revolutionaries and leaders, they had no guidance. They weren't given a purpose. And so they're just out in the streets doing stuff that ain't good. Many of them end up dying because they didn't have the guidance. And so, I knew enough to put my own ish on hold, so far as where I wanted to go individually. And, you have to invest. There is a definite investment that must be made. And so, I was able to do that. And I'm very, very proud to say that I believe I did not squander the gift that Creator sent to me, that I begged for. I didn't squander it, and did quite well with the warrior that I created. And again, I say that humbly. I'm in awe too, like, word. But in saying that, I'm not just gonna sit back and allow people who pretended to be his friend to plot and murder, and then work with the police and the medical examiners and such. This is real life. This is not, I can't tell you how many people hit me up. Moo, this what you gotta do. Like, I know, like, I be watching the crime shows. Like, people legit tell me that. Like, I know, I be watching crime shows. I know what you gotta do. You gotta listen to me. Like, mad. And I'm like, do you know anything about indigenous law? Do you know anything about, and let me tell you, there's been a couple of people that hit me up with that too. I'm a lawyer. Goddamn lawyer, yo. Like, I know what to do with India. No, you don't. Because you work in theory. These people work in theory, and they work in trying to promote themselves. I've seen it, I'm telling you. It's crazy. It may sound crazy. I might not believe it myself, too tough if I'm not experiencing these things in real life. But suffice to say, I'm taking this week slower than usual, to sort of replenish, get my thoughts together, and then hit the road running. There are a lot of things that Creator willing will be brought to the public. There's some books. There's a book that there's an essay that 2 Clouds wrote that I have put in book form. I should have published it by now, but I just been I work a lot on intuition, so I'm just waiting. So that there's another book, The Condor, which is more like a zine that I wrote, which is based on a true event that happened with Two Clouds. It was a magazine that hopefully is gonna hit by July. I still got to put this store up because revolutions cost money. So, and I am not, this is grassroots. I don't get any money from government, and I don't really know how I feel about that and dealing with Beyond Clouds and Women of Medicine. So, it's just going to have to come out of pocket. Everything been coming out of my pocket. I ain't no rich chick by any means. I'm working class like the rest of y'all. So that there are educational packets that I've put together that I'm going to be sending out to educators free of charge. One of the big things is that one of the big things that I want to help in moving forward is that Indigenous people stop being fetishized. Indigenous histories, Indigenous realities and cultures and language and all that should not be relegated only to, October in protest or resistance, or, to Columbus Day, or in November in resistance to Thanksgiving, or in May to speak up for a day or a week for missing and murdered Indigenous women. It should be constant, just like everyone else's histories and cultures and stuff. I think should be fluid. It should be constant. And so one of the ways that we do that, I think, is by reaching out to the youth and helping educators to know, because educators, they only know unless they're doing their own individual personal research on the subject and, bringing that to the classroom. But they only really know whatever they have read in books, whatever they know. So it is up to Indigenous people to inform them. And so, Creator willing, I would be doing our parts, my sons and my parts, by sending out educational packets to educators. Also, I also have packets that will be going out to libraries for story cards, as well as educators if they are interested, for story cards. And these packets don't only have to do with Two Clouds. Again, it has to do with Indigenous culture per se. We also have like free repositories for books for adults and children. So in the same vein as they have like the little libraries that set out people put free books, we have that under Two Clouds Book Exchange. So we have that, and I will be asking people who have access to their own homes, what have you, or stores, if they would, agree to putting one in front of their residence or business for X amount of time. And, I will supply books, and other people, I'll supply the beginning books for distribution. So we have that. There's a museum that is already in the works. There's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff that goes on behind the scenes. And of course, all of the other stuff with that has to do with legacy. But then we also have other things that are happening behind the scenes. As I said, with me getting arrested, and I won't go much into that right now because some things have to remain quiet. I put a lot of information out already just to get people on board and knowledgeable about things that are happening. But there's a whole lot more y'all will find out with the trial. But yeah, there's a lot going on. So, you know, I'm no young biddy. I gotta take some time for myself. Got a lot of work to do, you know, in honor of my child. And yeah, you know, this isn't, as I started to say earlier, people trying to minimize a mother's relationship with her child. It's far more than physical. It's spiritual. I can in no way explain, truly, I can in no way explain. I can't even explain it to all moms, I think. And I'm not saying this disrespectfully or anything. Again, with all the, you know, humbleness that I could muster, because again, it's all from Creator. But I think only certain moms can understand what it is. And I say that because I've spoken to other moms, and they're pretty much like saying to me, like, girl, you need to, like, you doing too much. Like, all you're supposed to do is cry about it and pray to God and let God take care of it. I'm just not built like that. The reason why I was able to create and build a warrior is because I myself am a warrior. And I just can't sit back on my laurels and be praying. To me, that's sacrilege to keep begging to Creator for help, yet you are not willing to do anything for your own assistance. And so I think only certain moms, you know, can really understand what it is. And honestly, I think only mothers of martyrs can really grab the gist, because we're talking about people who are defenders, who are protectors of the masses, and then they are murdered for helping the people. So, and with indigenous people everywhere, whether in Kenya or wherever, indigenous people everywhere have a reality. They are fully aware of their connection, that they are but a link in the chain that has spanned millions of years or thousands of years, perhaps millions of years. And they understand that they are only a piece in this. And they are the protectors of the people. We, moms, are the protectors of them. You feel me? And so, mothers of martyrs, I think, because we built them, you know what I mean? And so we have a different sort of connection to the reality of what is happening. And then on top of that, when you know who did it, people, especially for me, is even more disheartening, the betrayal of it all. And so, you know, with people who he rode with hard. And so, you know, when our children die for the struggle, I don't know, I think it just hits differently. It hits differently than if, you know, our children were out in the streets doing dirt and things like that. Because you sort of have like, well, you know, live by the sword, die by the sword type thing. And some people, I wonder, who, you know, kind of tell me, like I said, in so many words, like, I need to just chill and be happy, you know, with what God made happen. First of all, I don't believe that Creator makes evil happen. I think humans make evil happen. And as a person who strives to please Creator, I think it's absurd to think that I or others should just sit back and let evil run rampant while saying, you know, we're of God and Dios, you know what I mean? So that's absurd to me. But I wonder sometimes if, and I don't know, this might seem harsh to some people, I don't know, but there are thoughts that I have and wonderment, you know, if there's some sort of weight lifted off them, knowing that their children who are doing dirt in the world are no longer doing dirt, but that they no longer have to stress over that. I know it's terrible, terrible for them to lose their children, but just in talking to them and like hearing their voices, I'm like, I get the feeling that you're like relieved on some level. Where people who have children who are revolutionaries, that's not our case, you know. And so I think that really only parents or mothers of martyrs who died for the people, fighting for the people, can truly understand where I'm coming from with it. But nonetheless, understood or not, I got a job to do. I understand, so that's all that matters. In the interim, I'll be back with y'all. It's been about 4 days, so I'm about at my max of laying back and not doing much. So I'll be posting some things that I already have. I have a good 4 or 5 videos that I need to upload. So yeah, check y'all later. Look out for the merch, as my niece calls it. She's like, let me find out Marie got merch. So yeah, I have to put the store up because, again, revolutionaries gotta fund themselves. And so I gotta put out all the stuff, all the teas and the books and just everything that I have in order to try to generate money, or I'm gonna name it, in order to generate money that can be used for the organizations to do things for the people. So with that being said, I've spoken far longer than I anticipated, and I'll get with y'all later. Peace.